Today I wanted to give you 3 tips that are going to allow you to find a little bit more consistency off the tee. Consistency off the tee is something that we're all looking for, especially when we're trying to bring lower scores and of course our handicap. I want to think about, more important today, the driver. Something that we're always trying to hit as straight as possible and as far as possible. First of all, understanding what your ball flight is. What are your tendencies when you hit the driver? Go seek out this video up in the top right hand corner that will really give you an insight into what the driver needs. Some driver basics that will really give you some insights into how to manage the bend that you have. Now, whether you are someone that hits a fade with the driver, starts down the left and cuts back to the fairway, or someone that hits a draw where you aim up the right and you drawing back into the fairway, a bit too much there. Depending on which way you bend the golf ball, you will either be trying to fight the hook or fight the fade. So those driver basics, that video is really going to give you some insight into how to manage that. So once you've sorted out the flight that you're going to hit, now we want to think about some alignment and some arrangement on the tee. Now for me, trying to fit a ball into a hole or fit a ball flight into the fairway is crucial, and that comes down to the visualization. And so for me, I'm always thinking about where is the white line. So the white line that runs down the center of this TrackMan screen, where do I want to position that white line? Where is my center of the fairway? I never want to straddle that white line. So if I'm going to fade the golf ball, I want to always use as much of this part of the world left of the white line is running down the middle here. I want to use as much of the range to the left of it. As long as I've got a ball that's bending back left to right, I'm going to feel like I'm in control. The minute that ball straddles that white line, I'm going to feel inferior. So first of all, depending on how much shape you've got, don't fear using all of it. So the more that you use all of the left of the line in a fade scenario, the better you'll be. And don't worry about how much it fades, just use enough of it. And please, don't fear aiming left. Don't fear aiming left, because what we're trying to do is fit our ball down the fairway. You're trying to use what you've got on that day. So for me, I'm going to hit quite a big fade here. I'm going to set myself up and look down the left-hand side. Look into the sort of first third of that bunker. Going to aim it down the left here, so you can see I'm aiming quite a long way left. So I'm expecting quite a decent fade on this. And I'm going to work across it, and I'm going to bleed it back into the fairway. Now, because the ball has bled back into the fairway, but it never got to the white line, I feel really good about that. Now, draw that white line wherever you want to. So if you want that ball to be in the fairway and you're a fader of the golf ball, in your mind's eye, where you wouldn't draw that white line is down the left-hand side of the fairway, is it? What you would do is you draw that white line down the right half of the fairway, so that you've got all of this to use. And the more you use it to the left, the more you'll feel like the fairway opens up. Whereas if you draw that white line down the middle, it feels like you've only got one half of the fairway. And the same for those drawers of you out there. I'm now going to move that white line all the way to the left-hand side of the fairway. And while this seems, well, it's logical, Stuart, well, golfers don't seem to have a logical mind. And I have to bring this stuff to the fore, because there's a lot of garbage out there that is making you all a little bit dizzy. So I'm going to aim up the right-hand side, and I'm going to now make sure that that golf ball bends back. So you can see I'm aiming a considerable amount up the right, and I'm now going to really allow that ball to draw back. And so all of a sudden it feels like I've got so much room up the right. I don't mind where it starts, just as long as I see that bend in the sky that I can play with. So first of all, you need to think about, where is your white line? Is your white line to the left half of the fairway, or is your white line to the right half of the fairway? And then fit your shot in there. And sometimes you won't be able to fit it in because there's overhanging trees. Well, then you've got to think about a different club. But first up, where are you going to place your white line to fit your shape in? Don't put the white line down the middle. Put the white line either left half of the fairway or right half of the fairway, and use what's left to shape the ball in. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is use angle of attack to your benefit. Are you someone that wants to have or promote more of an upstrike, or are you someone that wants to promote more of a downstrike? Now, if you go and check that video out up there, I'll give you an insight into how to manage angle of attack with the driver. And so, depending on whether you are trying to fight a hook or fight a fade, your angle of attack will either need to go more up or more down. The more up you hit, the more the ball will tend to want to fade. And so, if I move that golf ball forwards in my stance, it gives me more of a chance to hit up. And the reason why golfers have feared putting the ball further and further forwards in their stance, because if they're hitting up, the more the ball goes forwards, the more the ground gets in the way. So put the ball forwards, and if you understand how you're going to unload the levers after you've watched that video, and in fact, I'll give you a little bonus video, go watch that one, you'll start to understand how that golf club really starts to unload. So the more forwards that golf ball is, the more I can unload the club, and the more I'll really get. So the golf club's swinging, the golf club's hitting up, and I really see a decent bend of that driver. That's going to allow us to hit more draw. Now, if you're feeling that, if you're feeling that you need more of that in your life, put the ball more forwards. If you need more up to hit more draw. If you're someone that needs more fade in the world, you might want to think about this right wrist, right shoulder, and feeling like you can accelerate a little bit more. Don't have the ball quite as far back, or quite as far forwards as I say. Now aim up the right. Now accelerate the right shoulder a little bit more, and feel how that right wrist can start to create a bit more of a downstrike, which will allow you to feel like you can trap the ball a little bit more and hit a little bit more of a fade. So you can now see I've hit down at 3.7, which has hit that little trappy fade. So use the angle of attack to make different ball flights occur. Either someone trying to get rid of a slice and work it back more to a draw, or someone that's got a little bit of a hook that's trying to work it back to more of a fade. So use your angle of attack to the best of your ability. That's going to give you more opportunity to manage your ball flight. Then third up, we want to have mindset. What is your mindset on a hole before you even get going? Now, the funny thing, when I used to play a lot of pro-ams, golfers would do two things. And the first one that I'd always see is when they're doing their warm-ups, they'd be swinging their driver, and they'd be crashing into the floor. Now, if you're crashing into the floor, we know you're creating downstrike, because you're putting the handle first, hitting down, using the leading edge, and making the face more open. What you wouldn't see on the PGA or DP World Tour are golfers making practice swings, thumping into the floor. It makes people feel like they can find the bottom. And so obviously what you see on the world stage is a golf club making it swing, or a golfer making the club swing, and have no concern about the club hitting the ground. So that's the first thing that I'd always see, and that's a little bonus tip for you. Don't be doing practice swings with your driver trying to hit the floor. But the other mindset, or the real mindset change that I'd want to draw your attention to is when they stand on the tee, or golfer stands on the tee, and they go, Bob, always make 6 down here. Stuart, always make 6 down here. This is a terrible hole for me. That's a mindset that is going to not set you up well for your game. And I see it a lot when I play with golfers. They can either start off badly and talk themselves into a crap round, or start off crap and talk them into even more of a crap round. The game beats us down. So we've got to be the eternal optimist. So when you're out on the golf course, you've got to keep thinking the glass is half full. As soon as you start thinking the glass is half empty, lady luck, the golfing gods will beat down on you. So let's say and feel and drive some form of positive mindset. This tee shot could be the one. This is the day when I make that crap hole the hole that becomes my best hole. So when you stand on the tee, let's have that Rocky Balboa mindset. Now it sounds a little bit cliche, and it's not in the British psyche to be all positive and upbeat and excited and energized. But right here at Good Golf Coaching, that's with the way we roll. So I'm going to be nice and positive. I'm going to set myself up here. I'm going to unload this golf club, and I'm going to get that golf ball out of the toe, because I know, because I've listened to that Stuart Cartwright, I've got a lot of great stuff in my locker now, in my pocket, that is going to make this ball go down that fairway with a beautiful little draw. I'm going to set her up down the right-hand side. I'm going to let that baby bleed back. I'm really going to get myself through that shot. And I'm going to try again, and you never know. You just never know. You might hit the drive of your life. So keep that mindset of using all of the information that I'm bringing you to give you the best chance to hit that shot, that fairway, that will really make your scores come down. I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you so much for being with me. I think you'll find that, my friends, is good coaching.